Everybody, thank you so much. Welcome to the June 15th, 2026 Public Arts Commission Special Meeting, City Meeting, be observed live on Salinas channel on YouTube, Zoom, or Comcast channel 25. Also, there is Zoom webinar participation available for members of the public. The Zoom webinar ID and link are available on the posted agenda on the city website. And then we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and we'll start with a roll call. Leslie, if you can support us with the roll taking here.
Yes. Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Banda.
Present.
Commissioner Cortez.
Present.
Commissioner Avellana.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And we're going to start off with public comment. If you wish to make a general public comment or comment on a specific agenda item, you are encouraged to attend the Public Art Commission meetings in person, or you can email public comments. And will be received and have been distributed on the commission and will be entered into the record. We are now open for public comment on items that, oh, sorry. Did I skip that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're now open on public comment on items that are not on the agenda and that are in the cities of Salinas subject matter jurisdiction. Comments on the agenda items should be held until the items are reached. Public comments generally are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. I may further limit the time of public comments depending on the agenda schedule. And we will now, is there any public comments? Any public comments? All right. We will now receive the minutes from February 23rd, 2026. Any comments from the commissioners in regards to the minutes? All right. We are now open for public comments on this item. Any comments on Zoom? Is there a motion to approve the minutes for February 23rd, 2026?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion for the minutes. Can I get a second?
I second the motion.
And then a call for roll.
On the motion to approve the minutes of February 23rd, 2026, please respond yes or no. Commissioner Morales.
Yes.
Commissioner Banda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cortez.
Yes.
Commissioner Avellana.
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you so much. Now we'll go to administrative reports. This is the ID number 26-302, the Clean California Local Beautification Grant Program, LSL Greening and Beautification Improvement Project, Public Arts Project. We'll receive a report from the planning manager, Grant Leonard. Nice to see you, Grant.
Good evening, Commissioners, Chair. Good to see you as well. Grant Leonard, Planning Manager. Very pleased tonight to share with you an update on the overall progress of installation of new public art as part of the LSL Greening and Beautification Project. And in particular, to highlight 2 projects that are currently in motion, looking to conclude at the end of the summer. So by way of background, the LSL Greening and Beautification Program is paid for largely by the Clean California Program, which is a statewide grant that was intended to do a number of things, include removing litter, creating jobs, and also installing new artwork or otherwise beautify disadvantaged communities or areas along the state highway system that needed beautification. So there's 2 components. There's a statewide component which is administered directly by Caltrans, and the city of Salinas did receive one of those awards as well. Those are the 3 new murals that were installed on the underpasses along Highway 101 at Market Street, Alisal Street, and Sanborn in 2024. And then the city was also awarded over $2 million local grant, which the city has been administering for both infrastructure improvements as well as new art installation. And that award was in 2022. And we're nearing the end of that grant cycle. Expenditure deadline is in September of this year. So what you see here, the black dots and the green line is East Alisal, and the black dots are various physical infrastructure improvements that were paid for as part of this project. Things like planting new trees, installing new benches, rehabilitating benches that were already installed but needed a touch-up, installing new trash corrals. And then not featured on the screen, but also important, was the renovation of the front patio of the Bread Box Recreation Center on North Sanborn. And this portion of the project, the infrastructure portion, was completed in late 2024, early 2025, and accepted by the city. The next component, which really started the artwork component of this project, was to wrap those newly installed trash corrals with an artistic wrap. So when they are delivered, they have plain gray panels, not particularly attractive and also prone to graffiti. So we envisioned doing a call for artists, from local artists, which we did. And we received numerous submissions, and in the end, 12 artists were selected, and their artwork was installed by way of wrap on these. So all the artwork was digitized, and then it was given to a local production company, and then the wraps were installed on site on the new trash corral. So if you go up and down East Alisal Street, you can see these featured. The next art project out of this was installation of new banners. And for this, the city did a call for photography. There were 3 local photographers who submitted and were successful. And their photography is now being featured along East Alisal at 20 locations with banners. And on the reverse side of the banner is inspirational words like "I live in the Alisal," or "I play in the Alisal," "I work in the Alisal." This was also part of the Alisal District Identity Master Plan, which was approved in 2024. Moving right along, another component of the grant was to install a new mural at the boxing club at Closter Park. And so the city prepared a call for art, and we received approximately 9 applications, or 9 submissions rather. Those were ranked by a selection committee of staff and community members, and it was narrowed to the final 4. And then that final 4 were put out to the community for consideration. So there were pop-ups, there was canvassing of the neighborhood, there were going to the school districts and the businesses, and you can see there featured at the bottom was a pop-up done at the boxing club. And in the end, a clear majority, over 50%, selected Echoes in Motion, which was a submission by Artist Inc., a local artist group. And the story, I'll flip back to that so we can focus on it, is to create a colorful and vibrant representation of the various activities at Closter Park. The mural symbolizes memorable moments that community members can identify with. And it is dynamic, featuring activities in motion, from soccer to baseball, cycling, basketball, boxing, and community gatherings, and with a vibrant color selection as well. And as part of the submission, Artist Inc. has proposed to do multiple 2-hour workshops with the community in order to build our foundation of young artists and to give them an opportunity to apply their new skills in practice. And this project was put on hold. We did all of that in 2024 and 5. And then Gloucester Park went under a full renovation. And the city realized it was not a good opportunity or good time to go out and paint a beautiful mural with all the dust and the dirt and the construction activities. So that was put on pause, but as Gloucester Park is nearing reopening, we're doing some repairs to the boxing club stucco walls and doing some base painting. And then Artists Inc. can go in this summer and install the mural before the grand reopening of the park.
Okay.
The last item we're going to talk about tonight is a monument proposed for the Alisal Street Skyway Boulevard roundabout. And the roundabout was installed in 2015. It was the city's first major roundabout. And then in 2019, the city adopted the Alisal Vibrancy Plan, which identified a need for new gateway monuments or markers throughout East Salinas and the Alisal neighborhood. And then also the 2024 Alisal District Identity Master Plan also reaffirmed the community's desire for these gateway elements. So as part of the 2022 grant application for Clean California, this location was identified for installation of a new monument. And what you're seeing here is aerial and street views of the intersection. It's currently just landscaped with some basic drought-resistant landscaping. So this spring, the city prepared a request for proposals, a call for art. 3 submissions were received, and a selection committee reviewed them. And they ranked them based on the criteria in the request for proposals, which included things like the originality of the concept, the narrative behind the concept, the driving idea, or the artistic inspiration, whether the concept was consistent with the city's citywide art master plan, as well as the Alisal Vibrancy Plan, and the overall qualifications of the artist. And the review committee was made up of community members from our Alisal Vibrancy Plan Implementation Committee, as well as staff members from key departments, Public Works, who oversees the roads, Library and Community Services, who oversee implementation of the Arts Master Plan, and the Salinas Airport, given its proximity at Skyway Boulevard. And based on that review criteria, the Kaleidoscope of Life was selected as the highest ranking proposal. It's from the Farallon Design Studio. And I'll read a little bit about the proposal narrative here. This is intended to be a vibrant gateway and a visual poem to the community's evolving identity. The kaleidoscope inherently relies on an array of distinct individual pieces coming together to create a unified and beautiful whole. And it symbolizes the rich cultural diversity of Salinas, as well as the continuous and fluid nature of change. And the bird featured in the center is a familiar and deeply rooted local species, the blue jay. And it was selected for its remarkable intelligence and its adaptability that is observed in nature. And then the emotion is an upward kinetic movement that represents the uplifting spirit of optimism and collective motion towards a brighter future. And the soaring gesture is also a direct geographic and thematic connection to the nearby municipal airport. Here's a representation that is not to scale. It's enlarged a little bit for perspective. And an image of how it would look at night. The proposal includes both the original mosaic and sculpture work, as well as landscaping, electrical, and concrete and foundation work. So there's a base area in gray on the left, the foundation, and then from the top of the foundation to the top of the sculpture is approximately 7.5 feet. And then from the center point to the outer point of the diameter is 5.5 feet. And then featured on the right-hand side of the screen is the approximate placement of the monument and the kaleidoscope wheels. And those kaleidoscope wheels are 4 to 5 feet in height, surrounding the main sculpture of the bird and triangulating around it. Another thing, just on Fairlawn Design, we do have a representative, one of the principals, with us tonight to assist with any questions. Do want to highlight that they do this work throughout the state and the nation, and a key component of their approach is involvement of local youth through the school district, or the YMCAs or other youth organizations, as also working with local artist collaboratives. So in their proposal, which is included as an attachment, is a comprehensive engagement strategy that they proposed, where local members of the community will help with the layout of the mosaics. All materials are fabricated by the designers, but then there's a collaborative process with the community members to assemble them in the patterns, and then they are then finalized, and construction of the statue and kaleidoscope wheels is done in studio before returning back to Salinas for installation. So where we are for next steps on these 2 remaining projects, Cluster Park, as I mentioned, we are working around the construction on site, doing repairs to the stucco on the wall, and then working with Artist Inc. to schedule installation of the new mural. And then for the roundabout, we are doing public engagement through this month. Last week, we were at the Transportation and Traffic Commission. We've been doing community pop-ups as well. I was presenting here tonight, and we're looking to move forward with this to council on June 30th for approval. And then over the summer, will be the outreach to the community, the in-studio construction, and then the foundation and lighting work and landscaping before installation. And with that, we're happy to take any questions. We also have a material sample of the mosaic material that we can walk to the dais and pass around if you're interested.
Thank you so much. Anybody have questions? I have a lot of questions, so.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions,
So
too.
I'm kind of waiting till the end, but if anybody has any questions that they want to, let's start off from over here. JC, any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. That was really great. You said that you were mentioning something about putting the stucco on the walls on one of the walls for the murals, and stucco is it like, I know that it has to be prepared in order to do the mural, but the mural is not painted on the wall. It's actually printed
So this
for the
stucco-
cluster park.
Yeah, in Cluster Park, the existing boxing club was in need of some wall repair on the existing stucco. So that's the work that's going on before the mural is installed on the walls.
Oh, but the mural is not painted onto the walls. It is already produced, and then how do you say? Yeah, I think what I want to get is is it a traditional mural where people actually paint onto the wall?
No, it is.
It is, okay.
With the trash corrals, those were converted to digital imagery and then printed on and wrapped onto them.
Okay.
But the mural at Cluster Park will be a traditional painting.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. I have no more questions.
I just have a general question. You mentioned that you'll be having other people assist with the installation of it. So are you looking at just general members of the public? You're going to be reaching out to schools, art students, things of that nature to help with the installation?
So it depends on which project. So Artist Inc. has a plan for engaging the community with the artwork at Cluster Park. And then for the mural, or rather for the mosaic and the statue, they have a game plan for going to local schools and youth organizations and art groups where the pattern of the mosaic is laid out and then it's taken back to their studio and converted into the final mosaics and the statues.
Gotcha, thank you.
So for the mosaic and participation from the public, how safe is that going to be? having are they gonna be volunteers or employed at this? I mean, because there's a huge difference for that. It's, and say, for instance, somebody does get hurt, who's gonna be liable for that? That's just my only concern, is just with the safety issue of the installation.
Yeah, so I'll just introduce our principal here from Farallon Design, and he'll come
Okay.
back to speak on this.
Technique that we're gonna be using, and this is Corten steel, and so
Okay.
the edges will be protected of it. And then the actual mosaic pieces will be pre-cut and then tumbled. We do this all over the country.
Nice.
We've got 4 projects that we're just finishing in Washington DC. The last project we did in Orville, we had over 2,000 kids work on it.
Yes.
Never a problem.
Okay.
25 years of it, but this is what we do, our outreach for the kids as part of our ministry.
And for the event of foreseen damage, please contact us directly to arrange inspection and receive estimate for repairs. What is gonna be the repairs? I mean, how fragile is the
It's
material?
not, it's extremely durable. This one was a sample done for MTS, for Metropolitan Transit in San Diego. One of the roughest stops in the whole
Yeah.
metro network on East Street in Chula Vista. Never a problem with it. If it's sprayed, which we haven't had, it's easily wiped off because it's all a vitreous surface.
Yes.
And so we just use a simple lacquer thinner and wipe it down. So the other thing is, that we protect it with, is that everything is digitized. We know where everything is. And we also hold all the tiles in reserve, extra tiles in reserve to repair it. So nobody's more concerned about what they look like than we do.
Yeah, no, that's,
It doesn't matter where it is.
especially for preservation and such in the, later on in the future, we wanna keep it as original as possible.
Yeah, our egos are huge when it
Yeah.
comes to this. Oh, sorry.
I apologize, but.
Yeah. No, we have big egos when it comes to our, the work, and especially for the kids' sake, that we make sure that it stays wonderful. And we're in very kind of high-risk communities of El Centro, Imperial, Calexico, Brawley, tough neighborhoods. Barrio Logan, never had a problem.
Yeah, this is quality.
Now, that'll have steel on the back, too. So technically, it's a really solid piece. It's sandwiched in there.
Yeah.
So really, when you're talking about, when we're talking about student volunteers, you're mentioning, so we're looking at them just kind of assembling the mosaic, and then that goes to you to then put it together like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
We're the elves,
Right.
that get it done right. And what we do is, it's a process where we train, in some cases, virtually every student in the entire school districts, like in Oroville and
Right.
other communities, Merced. Virtually every kid has worked on it. And so we train the teachers. Number one, we hold seminars and work. Let me just back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about what brought me to this. I had a different business when I started this. And I look back, I made it into a successful business from a 2-car garage. And it was when I sold it, because I wanted to work with kids that had to give them the opportunity that I had. I was no good in sports. You're artists, you know this story. I wasn't a good athlete. I wasn't good academically, but I could create things with my hands, and it was magic. And my life was on a fine balance for a long time. And what saved me is I had a dad that was attentive, and he had a wonderful wood shop in the backyard, and a mother who was an artist. And what about all the kids that didn't have those opportunities, that are the high-risk kids with the ADD and things like that? And that's the whole motive behind this, to sell my business, move to one of the roughest neighborhoods in the country, Barrio Logan in San Diego, it's infamous, and start working with kids. And that's how it all started. And now we've got some of the schools we've worked with down there for over 20 years now, and they keep coming back, and we work with them every year.
Anybody have any more questions?
No.
We got a quick question about the Blue Jay piece as the centerpiece. I was just wondering how you came up with the Blue Jay piece.
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and because of it, it's extremely resilient. We've done 100 eagles, never done a blue jay or scrub jay. It's incredibly intelligent, can communicate very well, and but it's mostly because it's extremely resilient, and they're ubiquitous. They survive and thrive in many different environments because they're extremely creative. So that was a gesture that we felt, yeah, made sense for this.
Great. I have a couple of questions, but this one's more for Grant. I had a question about, there was a while back, because I've been following this project for a while, the whole beautification project, and I think there was 2 moments throughout this timeline in which I shared the community engagement rubric, and I was just wondering if you have received it, because I did send it out twice, and I wanted to see how that was being implemented or how that was taken into consideration.
We did, and I think the slide that really focused on the outreach done for Gloucester Park is a good example of that, where we just started off with a blank wall, literally, and we asked for community's proposals from artists. And then it was a community selection committee that narrowed it down. And then finally, it was a very robust outreach effort that went through in person, pop-ups, community meetings, social media, different ways, meeting people where they were to get, however many hundreds of votes we did on the final bit. So the selection was not top-down at all. It was very much community-driven.
Great. And then I had some questions about the corrals. You said the corrals were being installed by a local production company? And what does that mean exactly? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get some understanding.
Sure. So I mentioned the corrals themselves were shipped and delivered and anchored into the sidewalk as just plain gray enclosures. And then the artwork was measured to the dimensions, the size of the different gray panels. And then a local company, Central Coast Sign and Design, was hired to take those artistic images, create a plastic or a vinyl wrap that is then placed onto it with an adhesive and heat and rolled on for a smooth finish. And that's the wrapping of the corrals.
Right on. I had some questions about maintenance for those corrals, because that's been it's a great idea and it's a great project. I really like the fact that we're able to incorporate artists to put their designs on there. But one of my main concerns that has been ongoing has been the maintenance for those corrals. Because they are protecting a garbage container, they tend to get really messy and have a lot of traffic. And so I guess my concern is just thinking about how maintenance has been put into mind for the upcoming corrals, given that they're also a vinyl wrap. Is there any thoughts on like when they rip and tear, like, and what does that look like, the maintenance?
Yeah, excellent question. The city pays a local nonprofit, Hope Services, for supplemental litter abatement along East Alisal corridor and several other corridors in East Salinas as well. And part of their scope of work is to clean those corrals. So they'll pick up the litter around it, they'll wash it down with Windex and that kind of thing, to keep them looking nice day to day. And then we do regularly go out and inspect them for any signs of peeling or bubbling or ripping or tagging. And we can do repair panels funded through our Alisal Vibrancy Plan. But the bigger issue with maintenance on those corrals has been fires, where someone accidentally or intentionally will ignite the material inside of the corral. It'll burn very hot and very fast in a contained steel enclosure. And then not only is the artwork lost, but the whole corral is lost as well.
And so what is the protocol for the artwork that does get damaged? Do we have a thought on how that looks like when the art gets damaged? Do we have a fund? Is there like a yearly checkup that happens, a bi-yearly? I just kind of want to envision it and kind of see what that looks like.
Yeah, so we don't have a strict program where it's every 6 months or every year, but as mentioned, we do regularly inspect. So at a minimum, monthly, we're out there, and Hope Services is out there every couple of days, and they report back if there's any damages. And I mentioned we do have the files, the digitized artwork. So if we need to repair a panel or repair several panels, we can do that relatively easily.
And so there's a line item allocated for the maintenance and the ongoing upkeep in case. Cool.
There is a line item for maintenance of the Clean California grant-funded improvements, yes.
Cool, thank you so much. And then another one, let me see here. Yeah, that was the main one for the corrals of the upkeep. And then for the, great job on the Cluster Park, and I do see how y'all have worked a little harder and being more inclusive and trying to do more community engagement. But yeah, we still got, we can always, do a little bit more. My question is going to this big, the roundabout is, I guess I just kind of want to, I heard about the Blue Jay, but I just kind of want to think about how that tells the story of our community. I know we've had 3 really big, what I would call like a once in a lifetime opportunity projects. And I just always want to really think about our community and how they're being represented, how's their narrative being represented, how do they see themselves in the artwork. And I know in the 3 overpasses that happened, there was some of the story, but also there was a challenge with local artists. And so I just would like to know more about like what's the story that's going to be involved in this, in the Blue Jay piece. I heard about the Blue Jay and the symbolism as far as resilience. But I just kind of want to, I guess, imagine what that looks like as far as their outreach, the connection to the stories and the designs. I'm just kind of know a little bit more about how that connects to the narrative of our community and our constituents.
Yeah, I might invite our artist back up. I will, just before he takes the stage, talk a little bit about the complexities of representing the Alisal with its rich history, going back from the early Spanish days and the Indigenous Age days through the Dust Bowl and the Oklahomans who moved out here, then to the Latino migration, and then up to 2019 with the revitalization plan. And I think definitely their kaleidoscope wheels are intended to represent that with the, as I read in the narrative, the different communities coming together and forming a whole. And then throughout the state, I'm sure if you read the attached proposal, it's often handy to have a local bit of nature represented, whether that's otters or a bird, or in the case of Chico or Orville, they track the whole path of a river and a river ecosystem through a mosaic. So I'll have Dan come up and talk a little bit more about the inspiration.
I think that having the under-recognized part of the jay, and it's a bird we see often, but that we don't really appreciate for its inherent majesty. It's once again its ability to survive in different environments and be able to handle change and maintain itself and its stability within the different environments, changing environments. And I think it's a powerful statement. And I think it makes a lot more sense to me. I mean, hawks. The raptors, the eagles they're everywhere. This is kind of an underappreciated species, and that once you take a closer look, it's really magnificent.
And then thank you so much. That does help tell a little bit more. And I guess I'm just curious to how that's going to be connected more once you get more community involvement and you visit some of the schools. And And then the kaleidoscopes, what's the representation of the wheels? Is there like specific colors that were chosen for a reason, or like specific
We're-
designs that were?
We're going to be doing little maquettes that the kids can color, like, coloring books, so they can create their colors in it, and then we'll choose from that. So the kids will be involved in as far as selecting the colors. And then what we'll do is take those back, and then what we do is pre-cut, and then we tumble it so there's no rough edges on the tiles, and so that they can be handled by the kids.
That sounds good. Sounds like a great way to get some community involvement and get the kids to feel invested in the art piece. I like that.
Yeah, that's very important to us.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I also too am worried about the maintenance. One of my big concerns in just being an artist and a local community member is that a lot of times, as local arts organizations and even people who take on projects, we're really trying to stay within certain boundaries, and we focus on the art form and paying all the artists, right? And sometimes we forget about the maintenance, and so that's always one of my concerns. Is there a planning or strategy that you have with your previous art pieces, or that you guys kind of follow?
We do go around, and I personally, I love going back into the communities and seeing them, and going into the parks, and we have a very good track record with that. We had, in one case, we had some vandalism with a hammer, and it's pretty hard to, to prevent that. It's extremely durable, but obviously, if somebody's really dedicated, they can create some problems. But for the hundreds of mosaics in the roughest neighborhoods in the country, for instance, the ones that we've done in Barrio Logan. By the way, Barrio Logan, when I first moved in there 25 years ago, we bought a building, and it was a lot of gang activity, and it was extremely rough. And we started doing mosaics with the kids in the community. And I know we're not the entire source of this transformation, but that community is now one of the most vibrant, diverse, and wonderful neighborhoods in all of San Diego, and that is a complete flip. And our mosaics are everywhere, from the churches and the schools and in the downtown, or in our central areas and the malls. And so we keep a very close eye on it, and all of those mosaics are still perfect, all the ones in the barrio. Those are our very earliest ones.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm familiar with Barrio Logan, and one of the things that I like about the area is that they have a great mural culture, because the
certainly
community
do.
has been involved in taking over the park that they have there, and really being leaders in taking care of it and stewards to that park. And so I'm a big fan of that park, and I really like how they tell all the stories of their community through the murals on that
We're one block
on the
away
bridges.
from the park.
Yeah, it's
and,
beautiful.
from the bridge there. But let me just add maybe something a little bit controversial. Maybe, hopefully, nobody in San Diego is watching. But they have nothing on your murals. These murals are sensational. Your underpass murals and the ones downtown, and they're just beautiful. You guys are doing a great job with that.
Thank you. They have a rough story, but they are good to look at. And I could tell you more about that story if you'd like after
I
this
would
meeting.
love it. And also, I don't mind people calling me anytime if there's ever a problem. It's real personal for us, that these stay good, stay right.
I appreciate
And
that.
These are the same techniques that they used in Pompeii 2,000 years ago, and that's the evidence that survived Mount Vesuvius. So hopefully, the archaeologists someday will say, wow, this was really an enlightened community. What kind of bird is this?
Another question that I have is, as far as interaction, I know it's going to be in the center of the street. Not to say that people hang out there, but we have a lot of people who commute and travel, and a lot of pedestrians that are going to be crossing through there. How does it look with people interacting with this sculpture? Is it possible? Are they going to be able to walk around it, walk through it, touch it? What does that look like?
And they certainly could if they wanted to, but I don't think that's going to be, pedestrian traffic is not encouraged We walked in there the other day. It's pretty hard to get in there.
So have you taken consideration into barricades or anything for the structure?
No,
No.
well, there's going to be a curb around it, and it is a big intersection. I mean, there's,
So maybe we could put some long, maybe hemp rope or posts.
you mean to keep
or,
the pedestrians out?
Yeah, just to keep pedestrians out.
I think it would be.
If it's gonna be if we're gonna be in that
Yeah,
situation.
I think that if it presents a problem, then we'd certainly have to address it, but I don't think that that's going to be the case.
Okay.
Thank you so
I
much.
think it's going to hold up, being observed at a fair distance from the sidewalk. You'd be able to see it real
But
well.
it's just for pedestrians or anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want traffic being, or congestions because
Yeah.
people want to visit and stop, and
Yeah.
it'll cause more traffic because that roundabout was made
Sure.
to stop congestion.
Sure.
So that's just my own, those are
you-
my concerns with that.
This is gonna be beautiful when people will be like,
Yeah.
ah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
You know how many people are gonna wanna be taking
thanks for
Instagram
that.
selfies and TikTok videos.
I hope
and
it's backed up.
That's
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna be facing. And I mean, I love it. It's
Little dance
great.
routines, you
But
know?
yeah, there's gonna be dance routines, guys trying to climb on it, just, say for instance, LaSalle High wins a championship, then we have a square party right there. Even we gotta take consideration, a lot of these kids do sideshows too, and that's what I don't wanna have.
Yeah, right.
Is stuff like that, where
I got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so safety is a concern. One of my last things is just because this grant is about, not only about beautifying as far as like aesthetically, I think it's also about beautifying your community by providing opportunities for local artists to really work in the community as artists and tell their story and express how they feel. What does it look like? Is there going to be any opportunities for local artists to possibly work or learn? I think that's also a big part when outside artists come. How do we exchange that? Like maybe we hire a couple of artists locally so they could learn the technique and feel as a part of it.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. We're always open to that. We're, in many ways, this is a ministry. This is my second career. My first one was in architectural millwork. And this is to engage kids. So those are the ones that it's entirely focused on. And a lot of times with professional artists, then there's another ego involved. And what we do is we work with kids and the teachers, and we train them so it's theirs. And us as adults, my name, I'm the founder and CEO. My name is not on one piece of art that we've ever done. There's hundreds of them all over. The kids' names are on there.
Nice.
That's where our focus is and will remain.
And that's beautiful. I guess sometimes I'm always just looking for like a quick opportunity for a professional artist to find the pathway and learn more. Maybe it's they come in just to help with maintenance or just cleaning up or setting up, but that can open an opportunity for an artist who maybe thought about glass but never thought about it in this way.
We'd be very happy to entertain that. And if you know somebody,
That's awesome.
I'll give you my card. Call me.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, because you could actually utilize somebody, if you train them, and you could utilize them to keep
Absolutely.
upkeep the maintenance on that, where you don't have to worry about that. You would have an artist
Right.
here.
Yeah, we have teams of artists like in El Centro and stuff, and that we can call. And back east, we have people that we can
But
call
to have a
because
local, a Salinas community members, especially
because
in the Alisal,
they
would be great.
embrace. Here, let me give you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Call me day or night.
Nice, thank you so much. I think that's pretty much it for my questions. Anybody else have any more questions? Great, thank you so much for all the information. And we're gonna open it up to a public comment. So yeah, if anybody would like to share or add any public comment, we are open for that. No public comment, then we will continue. I kind of lost my script here. We now receive report from the planning manager. We already got that. Commissioners report. That's where we're at, right? Commissioners report. Yes. Great. Now we're moving on to the commissioners report. We asked these commissioners if they have a report to share, and we're going to start over here at the left-hand side with JC.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited about the Alegrifes and Nahuales, so I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward, and I think everybody is, I hope. And I know that there's a conference on Wednesday, and I invite my colleagues, commissioners, to invite artists in Salinas and invite them so they can also get to meet Romaine Greco and also have questions regarding the professional workshops that they're going to have, and also culture invitations to everybody in Monterey County or and beyond, so they can see the sculptures in July, and it will be about 2 months, and they will leave in September 6th. So we're planning 2 openings and every Friday, so there's more opportunity to see the Alegrifes and Nahuales, and specifically the one that will be curated at the Steinbeck Center. They'll be able to attend for free, and you know, I welcome you and invite many people so they can come, so they don't have to pay for the specific exhibition, and it's open to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, JC.
I know for right now, we're excited for the local dance community because dancers of all ages right now are in the very throes of getting ready to do their annual dance recital at Notre Dame High School. And so we're talking about little kids that are just learning ballet for the first time, all the way up to some kids who actually a few months ago got to perform at the Disneyland Resort. So they're going to be doing their show at Notre Dame High School. That'll begin Friday evening and then go throughout the weekend for local kids from Jeannie Robinson Dance Arts. So I know that the local dance community is excited for that. It's an annual tradition here, leading to the annual tradition in November of the Nutcracker.
Nutcracker. Thank you so much.
So my commission report is, I would like to encourage everybody, especially in the community, to go and stop by at the Monterey County Historical Society. We have a lot of displays going up and really put a lot of effort in just restoring and adding more scenic backdrops. We got a lot of more exhibits being built over there, so I highly encourage everybody, just please stop by. I've actually uplit the whole campus, and the Williams Weeks Mansion and the Filipino labor camp is gonna be uplit as soon as FIFA's done. I've been kind of just stuck over there, but the finals are at Levi's, we finished July 1st, so the Filipino labor camp will be lit up somewhere in between July, so yeah, and then we'll also be having at the Baranda Adobe, the Baranda Days, and that'll be upcoming in September, late September, so just stay tuned for that, and you guys are all welcome, and I highly encourage it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation of the mosaic sculpture that you presented. Can't wait to see it actually, so it will be nice. As far as our reports, not much here really. Just encourage everybody to check out First Friday downtown Salinas. You know, the whole community to come check it out. And yeah, also there's also a few new murals in Midtown Lane by Natalia Coroza and myself as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Those are great murals. I did pass by and check them out. For my report, first of all, I'd like to thank for other people that presented today. And I kind of also want to just kind of clarify. I am a little bit of a stickler, but it's because I care about the community, and I ask a lot of questions. I think it's better to be informed than to not know. And if there's any way that we can provide support and opportunities for our local artists and our local community, why not? That's why we're doing this. So I do apologize that I take time sometimes, but I do care a lot. I'd like to invite everybody to come to these Arts Commission meetings. There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening and a lot of opportunities. I love asking questions and sharing, but if somebody else could do it, then it doesn't make me look so mean. But yeah, thank you so much. Also, the Alebrijes, that's gonna be a great opportunity. If anybody is available, pass by on Wednesday. It's gonna be more information on that, and you get to meet and greet the artists, and some of us too. And then there's also new artworks coming up and also a lot of events. I've been really excited about seeing more events in the community. We had a taco festival, we had the monster trucks that are coming around, we got more murals. And I'm also really excited about this mosaic and how the kids are gonna be able to participate. And I definitely will be reaching out more and more. But thank you so much, and please join us for these Arts Commission meetings anytime. Ask us questions and tell us what you want done here in the community, and we'll try to support as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lastly, the director's report.
Good. Just a couple of quick updates, just to piggyback on Commissioner Gonzalez and others who've talked about the press conference on Wednesday. So that'll be at 11 o'clock here at City Hall, if anybody's interested in participating in that. Staff is currently reviewing the public art event grant application. That was something that was included in your annual plan. And so we look forward to releasing that to the public in July. And then along the lines, we've had a lot of conversation about community involvement in murals. There is a mural that's going up at Ensign Community Park.
Yeah.
And there are a number of community paint days. So June 20th, 24th, 27th, July 11th, and July 18th from 10 to 1 are great opportunities for the public to come out and engage and help paint that mural. So, thank you. That concludes my report.
Lastly, the confirmation of attendance.
The next regular meeting of the Public Art Commission is scheduled for Monday, August 17 at 6 p.m. At this time, I will call the roll. Please respond yes if you plan to attend this meeting, or no if you're unable to attend. Commissioner Morales?
Yes.
Commissioner Banda?
Yes.
Commissioner Cortez?
Yes.
Commissioner Avellana?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is it for our Arts Commission meeting, our Public Arts Commission meeting. Our meeting is now adjourned. At the time is 6:53. Thank you so much.